I'm not going to talk about legislation and meeting the requirements of the legislation, about responsibility of companies, but I'd like to talk about very practical experience, some cases of application of Kaspersky Industrial Cybersecurity solutions in implementing the comprehensive project and assessing of the protection means at Transneft. The client was Srednyevorsky Transneft product, apart from Transneft itself. So they worked with Kaspersky Lab and InfoZaзащита, which is a specialized integrator in information security. For this project, we formed a work group which consisted of a representative of a client and vendor as well. What was the main aim of this working group? They had to analyze the current state of affairs at the company and create a list of requirements for information security. And as a result, this group was supposed to open a test project, a pilot project, which involved a solution by Kaspersky Industrial Project Security. And possibly creating the list of recommendations for modifying the solution so that it could be used more efficiently by the client. This project consisted of two major stages. First stage was the security analysis or penetration testing. The second major stage was a pilot project, the use of all three components of KICS solution, KICS for nodes, KICS for networks, and Kaspersky Security Center. These are the three components. And on the next slides, I'm going to talk in greater detail about all the stages. So, unfortunately, I've signed an NDA, so I can't tell you everything about the methods which were used at this stage, but I can tell you very briefly the following. So, we've made major works on identifying different scenarios of possible penetration of hackers to the technological data transfer network. So we've given recommendations which were later on fulfilled. Next thing, information security for the communication server analysis. That's one of the key elements. The server is one of the key elements for the automated control systems. So after that, there were recommendations for reducing risks of possible threats. So there was some proposal on automating the process of security, ensuring security and response in case of incidents. There were some measures proposed for protecting endpoint elements, and KICS solution was used for that. Second major stage was the pilot project. The main aim of this pilot project was to demonstrate the functions of the solutions, checking its sustainability and checking the correctness of configuration. So we've used the system of dispatching, control, and management. The example, the object was Transneft product, Volsky Transneft product. So we use such processes as transferring oil and gas products, pouring operations, and storage of oil products. We had some challenges when we were implementing this project. One of them was the situation was when technical facilities were located in different areas in Russia. We had only 3 years, but we spent 4.5 months because of this geographical challenge and some other reasons too. What was specific for this project, for this stage? We've implemented about 20 checks of functionality, for example, of KICS for nodes and KICS for networks. For example, checks of the stable work of operation system, of the applied software, and KICS itself. Besides, we were checking the consumption of resources after the installation of the system. It was very important because the capacity was quite limited. And besides, we tried to check the integrity level. So in total, we had a list of 20 checks. Additionally, we've implemented 6 scenarios. Each scenario was targeted at checking for possible violations by insiders or by third parties which maintain or use technical and information systems of Transneft. When they were finished, we've made some additional adjustments on creating the system of alerts and response to incidents. Components of the KICS solution demonstrated good efficiency. The client was happy. We also received a proposal to develop additional functions for KICS for networks, and now we have such adjustments and modifications in our roadmap for this product. To sum up, I'd like to say that despite all the challenges of these big projects, so for example, geographically distributed infrastructure, some very specific technological processes, and the use of unique software, this project where we implemented KICS demonstrated the viability of such functions, and demonstrated there was no negative influence on the safety and security assets and facilities. I know that one of the persons from this working group on the part of Transneft is in the audience. So he is representing the client, and he can tell us about his understanding of this project because he's looked at it from another side, and maybe he can tell us about possible future of this project. Before we started testing solutions from Kaspersky at our industrial facilities, we've done a lot of work. So for us, for the company, this step was really very, very important. Psychologically important. We didn't even expect to get such great results. So what was the results for us? How do we see them? The level of maturity of solutions we have at our company was significantly high. But after this project, we realized that we do have the room for development. We have something to continue implementing. So we've decided to use this solution when all the operations in real life were in a process. So before we didn't have great results similar to what we have after this project. What are the main conclusions for us? We understand now what we can do in the future. We know where to in which direction to develop, so we understand a little bit more about the systems that we have and that we use on a daily basis. So I would say that KICS for nodes, that's something which is completely ready for the use in real life. But the second part, the solution which is identifying possible breaches, that's something which have to be developed further. Here we need to continue working together. When we were working with this solution, we realized that it's something very interesting, very useful. We now know how we can use it, but we still didn't have a very clear understanding of its functions. So we agreed with Kaspersky Lab that we'll continue working with the use of this solution, and in the end, we want to get the final product, and we hope to have very good results by the end of the year. If you will invite us to this conference next year, we will of course share the results of this project. As for the Kaspersky Lab, here I have a couple of comments. They are very open people, and they are very attentive to what we want to explain to them, and they do implement what we request. As a result, we get the end product which is more attractive for us and for our needs. Colleagues, people do join us. If you also start using these products and work with Kaspersky, we'll get a better product, final products in the end, and that's mutually beneficial. That's everything I wanted to say about this project. I'd like to thank Kaspersky Lab and Info Защита for this very efficient work.